Chosen. If they left, it was God. I know the pain of that loss still echoes within you, but I want you to understand something crucial. What you lost wasn't meant for your path. They didn't have the vision to walk by your side, because God is leading you to a destiny that is uniquely yours, something much greater than you can imagine. The pain you feel right now is the sign that something grand is about to happen. The victory you've been waiting for is closer than you think, and the key to achieving it is in the hands of those who truly understand your worth. But I need you to listen closely, because it's not just about their departure. It's about what God is doing right now in this very moment in your life. What you don't know is that true victory doesn't come without a price, and the crossing you are going through is no accident. Everything you are experiencing is part of the divine plan. If you allow yourself to be guided, you will realize that your journey is just beginning, and your victory is not only coming, but it has already been written. Are you ready to keep climbing? Because you haven't yet seen the best of God for you. When that door closed, you felt the weight of something gone. The emptiness, the doubt, the fear of losing a unique opportunity. But what you didn't know is that, in fact, God was preventing something that could have kept you stuck in the past. What seemed like a defeat was, in reality, the greatest victory you could have had. The closed door wasn't a sign of failure, but a sign of liberation. Imagine for a moment, maybe you can't understand it now, but there is a path that only opens when you lose what you weren't supposed to carry. God isn't abandoning you, He is guiding you to where you truly belong. The journey is not about what you lost, but about what He is preparing for you. And the most amazing thing, that closed door is, in fact, the key to your next level. Maybe you've questioned yourself, why do I feel so lost right now? The truth is, you are exactly where God wants you to be. Your pain is not an end, but the beginning of something much greater. The door you tried to open wasn't for you, and God knew that. He doesn't want you to get lost in a path that wouldn't lead you to fulfill your true purpose. Remember, every time a door closes in your life, God already has a new path prepared. There is no randomness in His plan. What you see as a blockage is actually divine guidance to keep you steady on the right course. The best is still to come, and you need to trust that every loss is bringing you closer to your true victory. It's not about what's behind, but about what's waiting for you ahead. You may not see it now, but that closed door was a sign of God's love for you. He knew that if you stayed there, you would never see what He really has for your life. And that's exactly why the invitation is being made now. Keep climbing. What lies beyond that door is greater, more grand, and more aligned with God's purpose for you than you can imagine. Are you ready to walk this new path? Have you noticed how the people around you don't understand the depth of your calling? Those who left, those who couldn't keep up with your journey, they simply couldn't see what God placed inside of you. They couldn't perceive the light that shines within you, the fire that propels you towards something greater. But there's a blessing in this that you might not have seen yet. When they leave your life, it's not because you failed. It's because God is clearing the way. The people who cannot understand your purpose are, in fact, an obstacle to your growth. What seems like a loss is actually preparing you for something only you can experience. They left because they weren't ready to keep up with what God is doing in you and through you. That indeed is a great blessing. Don't let doubt take hold of you. When people can't understand your calling, it's God placing you in a position where you'll only need to depend on Him. Your purpose is unique, and often it won't be understood by everyone. And that's okay. You are being called to something beyond what the eyes can see. And this, chosen one, is a great blessing because it prepares you to be a light in a world that desperately needs it. This separation is divine protection, taking you away from negative influences and placing you on a path of growth and evolution. God took you out of a place where you couldn't move forward and placed you in a space where only He can guide you. Don't feel rejected or abandoned. On the contrary, Feel blessed to be chosen for this unique journey. They didn't understand your calling, but God does, and He will take you to the end. Now more than ever, it's time to look within and strengthen yourself. You don't need anyone's approval to follow what God has determined for your life. The separation is not the end, but the beginning of a new cycle. What you are living right now is the testimony that God's path is greater, more powerful, and more illuminated than any path others may suggest. Are you ready to continue, even without others' understanding? You are crossing a desert right now, and I know the shadows of loneliness can be overwhelming. But what you don't see is that the desert is not a punishment. It's the place where God transforms you, where He prepares you for greatness. Every step you take in this dry land, every moment of weakness, is shaping you into something stronger, wiser, more prepared. The desert, in fact, is the fertile ground for your evolution. During the crossing, the exhaustion might make you think that everything is lost, that nothing will change. But the desert is the place where the true essence of who you are begins to reveal itself. It's not in abundance that you learn your true worth, but in adversity. And it is precisely in the desert that God shows you how powerful you really are. You are more prepared than you think, chosen one. The desert is the furnace where your soul is refined, purified, and strengthened. It's hard to understand this now, but remember, God will never leave you alone. He is always by your side, even when you can't see His presence. The silence you feel is not abandonment, it's preparation. In the desert, He teaches you to trust when everything around you tells you otherwise. And when you leave it, you will be unbreakable, because the transformation happening inside of you is more powerful than any external circumstance. This is the time to look at pain with new eyes, to understand that it has a greater purpose. Each challenge is an opportunity to grow, to get closer to who God wants you to be. You are not being punished, chosen one. You are being prepared to lead, to show the world what it means to be someone who has gone through the fire and come out stronger. And every time you feel at your limit, remember, the limit is not the end, it's the beginning of something new. Now maybe you're asking yourself, but when will this end? The truth is that the desert is not eternal, but the transformation it brings lasts forever. God placed you on this path because He knows you are capable of overcoming. The desert is the furnace where you become the purest, brightest gold. Don't give up now, because what's waiting for you at the end of this crossing will surpass all your expectations. Are you ready to see the transformation happen? There's a lie you've been believing for a long time, a lie that's fed your doubts and made you question your own journey. You've been taught to believe that struggle is a sign of failure, that the difficult path is the wrong one. But that was never true. What you weren't told is that on the spiritual journey, it's precisely through the struggle that you grow, that you become stronger and closer to God. The difficulty is not an obstacle, it's an opportunity. You see suffering and think, am I on the right path? And that doubt holds you back, makes you question everything you've accomplished so far. But know that the greatest challenges come to test your faith, to show you how far you are capable of going. The truth no one told you is that you are not alone on this journey. Every challenge, every fall, every pain is part of the refining process that brings you closer to your true destiny. You are being shaped, chosen one, and that is exactly what God wants you to realize. The pain you feel now, this struggle that seems endless, is not a sign of failure, but of progress. You are on the right path, even if human eyes can't see it. Don't be deceived by appearances, chosen one. What God has for you is beyond what others have told you, beyond the limits you've placed on yourself. The path is not easy, but it leads you exactly where you need to be. You are stronger than you think, more prepared than you can imagine. Now it's time to break free from this lie. Stop believing that God's path is only for the strong or the perfect. God's path is for those who are willing to fight, to fall and rise again, to trust when everything seems impossible. There's no failure on your path, only lessons that will transform you. And with every lesson, you're getting closer to revealing the person God always knew you could be. Chosen one, the time has come to face the truth. The struggle is not your enemy, it is your ally. What seemed to be an obstacle is, in fact, the bridge God has built to take you to the other side. You are closer than you think. Are you ready to break free from the lies and embrace the truth about your journey? You've been trying to control everything around you, but deep down, you know there are things that just slip through your fingers, and that scares you. The feeling of losing control is overwhelming, isn't it? But what you still haven't realized is that when you lose control, you're allowing God to take command. What you can't control is exactly what He uses to lead you to a greater place. The things that seem out of order to you are, in fact, falling perfectly into His plan. You're afraid of losing control, but what's happening is that God is guiding you to a path where you no longer need to worry about having everything under control. He knows the way better than you, and by handing over the reins, you free yourself from an enormous weight. This weight that you carry by trying to control the uncontrollable is exactly what keeps you from seeing the greatness of the divine plan for your life. You don't need to control everything. You need to trust. If you stop for a moment and observe, you'll notice that the moments of greatest transformation in your life happened when you had no control over anything. When the unexpected came in and took you to places you never imagined. These moments weren't coincidences. They were God's hand guiding you to what's best. When you stop fighting the loss of control, you'll see that this is the sign that you are finally aligned with the divine purpose. Life isn't about controlling everything. Life is about trusting in what can't be seen, about walking in faith, even when things don't make sense. Every step you take, even without control, is a step that brings you closer to your destiny. True freedom comes when you understand that by letting go of control, you are allowing God to do the impossible. And as difficult as it may be, it's in this surrender that true transformation happens. Now I ask you, are you ready to let go of what holds you back and trust completely in God's plan for your life? Because by doing this, you'll discover a much greater power than any control you thought you had. Are you ready to live this surrender and witness the greatness that comes when you let God guide your steps? Chosen one, you have more strength than you realize. I know you've already felt tired, exhausted, as if life has been demanding too much of you. But what you haven't realized is that with each challenge, with each difficulty, an incredible strength is being activated within you. You're not weak, you're transforming. The power to overcome any obstacle is already within you, and it's this strength that will take you to where you need to be. Maybe you've doubted yourself. Maybe you've thought that you weren't capable of facing what's ahead of you. But let me tell you something. God made you strong. This strength doesn't come from the outside. It comes from within. It's rooted in your soul, in your faith, and it's exactly what keeps you moving, even when everything around you seems to fall apart. You're not weak, you're stronger than you can perceive. Every step you take, every time you choose to move forward, even when you feel lost, is proof of this inner strength. You've risen so many times, and that's not by accident. God has already equipped you for what's to come. He knew you would be able to endure the struggles, that you could win the battles, even when it seemed impossible. What you're living now is a process of strengthening, where each difficulty is preparing you for something greater. You may be wondering, when will this end? The answer is simple. When you finally realize the strength that's inside of you, this is the moment when everything starts to make sense. When you stop looking at challenges with fear and begin to see them as opportunities to grow, you'll understand the power that already lives within you. You're in a process of transformation, and the strength needed to overcome all of this has already been given to you. Are you ready to finally accept this? Now is the time to stop doubting yourself. Look within and feel this strength. You're not alone. and you never were. God is with you, and He's already given you everything you need to overcome whatever comes your way. It's time to trust in this inner strength and believe that you are more than prepared to achieve your victory. What will you do with the power that's inside of you? Are you ready to use it and take the next step toward your destiny? Chosen one, inside you there's a silent war that isn't always easy to deal with. It happens every time you're challenged to move forward, when doubt creeps in and tries to make you believe you're not capable. The battle you're facing is not in the outside world, but in your mind and heart. The inner rebellion is a constant. Fight between the faith you want to live and the fears that try to dominate your soul. And yes, this war can be exhausting, but something much greater is happening. The enemy in this war is not another person. It's within you. It's the thoughts, the insecurities, the what-ifs that arise whenever you make an important decision. The mind tries to convince you that it's impossible, that you don't deserve it, that the path is too hard. But by doing that, it hides the truth God gave you. You have all the power within you to win. Every moment of doubt is an opportunity to strengthen your faith. Every moment of weakness is a chance to see God's power working within you. You're in a war, and the true battle is between faith and fear. Don't let fear win. With every choice you make, with every positive thought you put before yourself, you're feeding the strength that will lead you to victory. You don't need to defeat your fears all at once, but every day, with every decision, you're winning the internal war. The secret is not to surrender to doubt, but to hold on to the certainty that, with God, you can overcome anything. The battle is real, but the victory has already been secured. The battlefield is your mind, and the weapons you have are trust. In God, the courage to face your own fears, and the certainty that there's nothing that can stop you. Every time you feel defeated, remember, you're stronger than you think. Every small step of faith is a blow to doubt. You're winning, even when you don't realize it. Now more than ever, it's the moment to decide who's going to win this war. The choice is yours. Will you surrender to fear and doubt, or will you rise and walk in faith, knowing that God is strengthening you? Are you ready to face this battle with courage and faith and finally win this war within you? Chosen one, you are approaching a crucial point, a moment when everything you've been through until now will be tested. This isn't just another challenge, it's the final test before you reach the next level. This limit you're feeling, the sense that you've reached your breaking point, is actually the decisive moment. What will you do when your body, mind and soul seem to ask for rest? When everything around you seems to beg you to give up? This is the test God has brought you here to face. The limit is not the end, chosen one. It's a sign that you are about to break through to a new milestone. Every fiber of your being may scream for you to stop, but it's at this moment that your true strength is revealed. God is challenging you to trust what's inside of you, to take the final step when you feel you can't take another. You've already faced the desert, you've already faced the pain, and now what lies before you is the last barrier, and when you cross it, you will discover a strength you never imagined you had. Have you noticed that the further you go, the harder it seems to get? This is no accident. God is testing you, not because He wants to see you suffer, but because He wants you to see how strong you truly are. He knows that you are capable of going beyond, of making the impossible happen. What you're feeling now is just the last obstacle before reaching what He has prepared for you. Your victory is within your reach, but you need to decide, will you surrender or will you trust God to break through this last barrier? This is the moment of truth. This test is not just physical, it's spiritual. It's asking you to completely surrender to trust in God. When you reach your limit, when exhaustion threatens to take over, it's at this moment that you need to say, I trust, Lord. I know that what lies ahead is greater than what is behind me. This is the step that will lead you to victory. The question I now ask you is, what will you do when the limit approaches? Will you retreat, or will you trust that even at your lowest point, God will lift you up? This is the decisive moment for you to understand that in weakness, God's strength is perfected. Are you ready to take this step of faith and cross the final test? Chosen one, you've finally reached the end of this phase of your journey, but what you didn't expect is that by crossing this line, you'll encounter something even greater. The victory you've earned is not the end of your story, but just the beginning of a new chapter. What you thought would be the final reward is, in fact, the foundation of something much grander that God has prepared for you. Every effort, every battle, every tear you've shed now transforms into a solid base for what's ahead. What you don't know is that God didn't bring you here just to give you a small reward. What He has for you is far greater than anything you've ever imagined. Your journey, with all its difficulties and moments of despair, was preparing you for something far more magnificent. When you reach this point of realization, you'll understand that the true reward is not just in the victory, but in the process, in the growth you've experienced along the way. And this transformation is the greatest gift of all. Now that you've made it this far, it's time to look toward the future with new eyes. God has equipped you for more than you ever thought possible. The divine reward waiting for you is not just a personal achievement, but a preparation to bring others along with you. What you've learned so far is the foundation for an even greater mission. You've been shaped and empowered to be a light for others, to guide those who are on similar paths. Your purpose is greater than your own victory. With every new level you reach, you will see that the reward goes beyond what you imagined. God didn't call you to live small. He has something extraordinary reserved for you, but the greatest gift of all will be the impact you have on the lives of those around you. As you reach this point of transformation, you'll begin to understand that victory is not something to be kept to yourself, but something to be shared, spread, and multiplied. God's purpose goes beyond your life, and now you're ready to fulfill that mission. The question I ask you now is, are you ready to understand that your journey hasn't ended, but has just begun? The true divine reward isn't in the arrival, but in the continuation of your path. Are you prepared to embrace what's to come and use your victory to light the way for others? What lies ahead is far greater than anything you've experienced so far. Chosen one, you've reached the point where the journey is no longer just about you. By crossing every challenge, by achieving every victory, you've not only transformed your life, but now you're being called to transform the lives of others. Your walk has been preparation, divine training for you to become a light for those still lost in the dark. God didn't bring you here just for you to enjoy the victory, but for you to share it, to show others the path of redemption and overcoming. Now, more than ever, it's time for you to rise and be an example. The world needs leaders, people who have been through the fire and didn't burn out, people who were forged in hardship and now know what it means to win. You're no longer alone. Every victory you've achieved has prepared you to lead, to help those who are on your path, to be the hand that guides others to the light. Your mission is now clear. Help others rise, just as you've risen. Maybe you haven't realized yet, but the greatest purpose of your journey is precisely this: to spread the transformation you've lived. Every battle you fought, every tear you shed, every step you took now transforms into wisdom for those who come after you. Your story is a powerful weapon in God's hands, and you have the power to impact lives in ways you never imagined. You were shaped for this, chosen to lead, to be the change the world needs. Don't forget, the true calling isn't about being great on your own, but about helping others reach greatness. The victory you've lived is a reflection of God's love and grace, and now it's time to share that grace with others. You have the power to change lives, to light the way for those still in the darkness. The next step is yours, chosen one. You have the tools, the wisdom, and the heart to do it. Don't wait any longer. It's time to act. The world is waiting for you, and there are people who need your light, your courage, your faith. What are you going to do with this power now? Will you continue alone, or will you extend your hand and help others rise too? God has already prepared you. Now it's your time to fulfill your greater purpose. Are you ready to be the leader you were born to be? Are you ready to lift others up and show them the way to victory? Chosen one, the journey you just lived is only the beginning of something grand. Every challenge, every pain, every moment of uncertainty was preparation for what you will do now. You have within you the power, the strength and the wisdom to transform your life and the lives of those around you. God has prepared you to lead, to be light, to guide those who are in the darkness, just as you once were. There is no turning back. You are ready to fulfill the greater purpose He has for you. But this victory, this transformation, is not meant to be kept just for you. Now more than ever, it's time to rise, extend your hand, and show others the path you've walked. They need you, your light, your experience, your courage. Your journey has a purpose that goes beyond your own life. It's for all those you can impact, for all those you can help rise. What will you do with this power now? The decision is in your hands. I want you to look within and ask yourself, how will you apply everything you've learned? Will you allow your story to change the world? Will you inspire others to believe, to rise, and to overcome the challenges before them? The time is now. The world needs your light, and God has already given you everything you need to make a difference. So don't wait any longer. Rise up. Keep climbing. Your victory is closer than ever, and you were made to shine. If you're ready for this calling, take the next step and transform your life and the lives of others. The journey isn't over. Now you have the power to change the destiny of many lives. Are you ready to act?